Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about the data profiling for data quality check. Data profiling is a vital component of the data quality assurance process, providing the insights into characteristics, structure, and integrity of a dataset. In Power Query Editor, data profiling tools offer an in-depth analysis of the data, facilitating the identification of anomalies, inconsistencies, and potential issues that may affect the data quality. Here's how data profiling aids in data quality checks. Number one, it can be used for column analysis. Data profiling examines each columns in the dataset, offering statistics such as data types, distinct values, and value distribution. This analysis helps in understanding the nature of the data and detecting any irregularities or discrepancies within individual column. Then, it can be used for the data type validation. By automatically detecting and assigning data types to different columns, data profiling ensures that the data is interpreted accurately. Users can verify the assigned data to ensure the alignment with the actual data, preventing misinterpretation and errors in analysis. Then, it can be used for value distribution assessment. Profiling tools provide insights into the distribution of values within the columns, including frequency distribution, histogram, and summary statistics. This enables users to identify the outliers, anomalies, or unexpected patterns that may indicate data quality issues. Then the next one is the missing value detection. Data profiling highlights columns with missing values or null values, allowing the users to assess the extent of missing values and devise strategies for handling them, such as imputation or removal. Addressing missing values is essential for maintaining data integrity and reliability. The next one is pattern recognition. Advanced profiling capabilities can identify the common patterns and formats within text or categorical data, such as email addresses or phone numbers. Detect deviations from expected patterns helps in validating data consistencies and identifying the potential errors or inaccuracies. The next one is cross column analysis. Data profiling facilitates cross column analysis to uncover the relationships, dependencies, or inconsistencies between different columns. This holistic view of the dataset enables the users to detect the data anomalies that may not be apparent when examining the individual columns is in isolation. The next one is the data quality matrix. Profiling tools often include predefined data quality metrics or rules to evaluate the data completeness, uniqueness, consistency, and accuracy. These metrics serve as a benchmark for assessing the data quality and guiding corrective actions to improve overall data integrity. Overall, by leveraging the data profiling in Power Query Editor, users can conduct thorough data quality checks, ensuring that their data sets are clean, reliable, and suitable for analysis. Identifying and addressing the data quality issues early in the data preparation process is critical for producing the accurate and trustworthy insights for decision making purpose. So let's go to the Power BI and see how can we use this particular data profiling in our Power Query. So here we are in our Power Query editor and I have loaded a data set which is sample company data. Now this data has three columns. The first one is the company name, the second is a month, and the third one is the sales that is happening in that month. Now let's say if you want to check that what are the values that particular column contains and how are these values distributed. So for that case, what you can do is you can go in this view option and over here you can see this pane of data preview. Now let's say that I want to inspect this column a bit. First of all, remember that whenever you are working with a large data set which has got too many rows, so it won't be able to identify everything. In that case, what you need to do is over here, where you can see this column profiling is based on the top 1000 rows. If your data set is having more than 1000 rows, what you can do is you can choose this option of column profiling based on the entire data set. Now, whenever you will be looking forward to do the data profiling, it would be able to identify the complete data sets, errors, or any other values. So the first option in this is the column quality. So let's say if you want to find out the column quality, what you can do is you can just click on this and turn this on. So now it would show you the column quality for each column. For example, this column company has 100% valid data. It doesn't contain any error and neither of the value is empty. If I talk about the month column, the same thing is happening with this. If I talk about the sales column, so I can see that not every data is over here valid. This is happening because there is 1% error in this data. Now I have to figure out this error and then I will try to correct this. But whenever you are dealing with large amount of data, so it becomes very important for us to have the exact amount of the errors or the null values that are present in the particular data so we can correct it, or we can try take any measure to just avoid that or just remove that so that we can correct our data. In that case, it becomes very important for us to look at the column quality. So over here, I can easily view the column quality by clicking on this. Then just uncheck this for now. Then the next one is the column distribution. Now you can see this columns contains many values. For example, over here in the month, I can see the repetition of months over here. So for each company, for company A, we have the data from January till December. Then the same happens for company B, and it is also from January till December. And the same would be happening for the other companies as well. Now I want to find out how many companies are there or how many months worth of data I am having. So for that, what I can do is I can just go in, check this column distribution, and it would give me the exact values of the data that is present in the particular column. So over here, it tells me that I have 8 distinct values in company column. That means I have 8 different companies present in this column. Then if you talk about the month, it tells me that I have 12 distinct values, which is correct because we have 12 months in a year and these months are repeating for each of the company. Then we have the sales option over here. Now it is not giving me any information. This is because my sales data has some errors. If I just scroll down and look at this data, so you can see that I'm having a null value over here. And apart from this null value, I'm also having this error over here. So that is why it is not able to correctly find out the distribution of the values in this data. So what I need to do is I need to correct this error. But how did I find out that I was having an error? This was because I used this column quality option and it was telling me the quality of my particular columns. The next option is the column profile option. So if I just click on this column profile option and if I select any column, so it would tell me the complete profile for that particular column. So for example, the company column has 96 values in it and it doesn't have any error. No values are empty and there are 8 distinct values. So over here, I can easily find out the repetition of the values if there are any repetitions or if there are distinct values. So what are the number of those values? How many total values are present in my column? If we talk about this month column, so I will click on it and the column profile will then reflect the distribution for this month column. So now I can see that there are values from January till December, and there are total 96 values and there are 12 distinct values. Then we talk about the sales option over here. So here it is clearly telling me that there is one error in this column. That is why it is not able to show us the column profile. So what I need to do right now is I need to fix that error in order to see the values that are inside that in form of the distribution. So I will just uncheck this column profile. So what you can do is after you have found out the information about your column, you can go over here, do right click, and here you will find multiple options. For example, I am having this option of removing the errors. So let's say if I use this option of remove errors. So if you just scroll down and we will see that the error is now removed. So if I just click on the column profile now, you can see now I can get the complete column profile. But what if you don't want to remove that particular error? If you want to just correct it, maybe there are not too many errors in your data set and you can easily correct them manually. So for that, what you can do is you can just uncheck that option and you can just roll back this applied step of removing the errors. Now I will again come over here and I will select the replace error values or replace errors option. For this particular option, I will use the replace errors option. Now I can see that it is giving me the value that I want to keep over there and by replacing that particular error. But what exactly was the error that was coming over there? I also need to find out because this particular error is for the sales of a specific company. Now I cannot enter any value at random. Either I need to have that particular value so that I can insert, or if I'm not having that value, then I would be removing that value. So what I'll do is I will scroll down a bit where I can see that error. If I click on this error, I see that it is giving me the details for that error. And right now, the error row is having the value of 62A000. So I know that while inputting this value, someone has by mistake placed a character inside the sales value. It should be 62,000 instead of the 62A000. So now I know that I need to remove this A from over here, or I just need to put the value of 62,000 in my row to keep the correct value. So I will just roll back this step I will go over here, do right click, I will go in the replace errors option, and in the values part, I will keep the value as 62,000 and I will click OK. Now you can see that I have this correct value. Now, whenever you are using the column distribution, it would also give you the correct value because now there are no errors in our data right now. If you go in the column profile also, it would give you the correct column profile. So let's select this column and see the column profile. Now, whenever you are having any numerical columns, it would be a great way to see the column profile because it can show you the minimum value, the maximum value, the average of that particular column, the standard deviation of that particular column, and the other stats part. For example, how many values are total present over there out of that, how many are unique, and the other things. So this is the way in which you can correct the errors. And let's say if you are having any null values, so you can also replace those null values. If this column is containing all the numeric values and you don't want to keep the value as null, let's say you want to keep the value as 0 over there. So that also can be done. So I will right click over here and over here I can just replace the values and I can tell it to find the null value and replace it with 0. Or if you have any minimum sales in mind that has happened in the past, and you can also put that value in case you don't want to replace it with 0. So I will click on OK and you can see that the null value has now been replaced with 0 over here in the September for company H. So this was one of the way in which you can see the column profile. But let's say if you want to see this column profile in an entirely new window, what would you do? So for that, I know that right now my particular data set is sample company data and I want to see its profile. So for that, what you can do is you can go over here on the top of any query, right click, and you can choose this new query option. So we'll again go over here and do right click. So now let's say you want to see all this data profile into some new query. So what would you do in that case? For that, what you can do is you can go in this new source option and over here we have this option of blank query. You can click on it. Now over here in the formula bar, you have to type equals to table.profile. So it is giving me this option of table.profile. So I will just press tab and in brackets, I will write my table name. So my table name is sample company data. So I will write sample company data over here. Again, it is giving me the option. So I will just press tab and I will press enter. So then you will see that it has executed the query and it would open a new window. And over here, you can see that this is the particular column profiles that it is trying to give you, and it would include the values for each of the columns. So over here I can see that the company column has all these values of company A, H, and the other companies, and it has the months from April till September. It is showing me the minimum and maximum values over here. It will also show you the other stats part, for example the average, standard deviation, the count of that particulars, the null counts, and if there are any errors. So whenever you are dealing with a large amount of data and you want to find out the exact number of errors or the null values in that, it would be very important for you to use this profile option. If you want to see it in detail, then I will recommend that you use the query option and you can find out the exact number of all the errors and null values present in your data, and then you can take some necessary steps to correct those errors. So I hope this session was helpful. Whenever we are starting to work with any kind of data, it is very important for us to do this profiling in order to know that the data is clean enough to be analyzed and create some visualizations or not. Thank you.